Welcome to the Real Life Weight Loss Podcast, where we cut through the confusion and get down to the truth about what really works for real people when it comes to losing weight, having incredible health, and a body that you love. We believe that losing weight is really about gaining life, doing things you never thought you could, having renewed confidence, and enjoying your body more than ever. I'm your host, Corey Little. Now let's get to it. Hello, my friends. Welcome back. This is episode number 282, and today I'm going to explain to you 2 must-have principles for weight loss success. There's absolutely no way around these. It doesn't matter which diet you're doing or which diet you want to do or plan to do or which weight loss program you're doing. There's absolutely no way that you will lose weight and achieve success without these 2 principles. I know that may sound bold, but if you listen to this entire episode, I think you'll see that, wow, it's actually true. He's correct in this. I actually thought about calling this episode, Are You Doing a Diet or Are You in a Cult? Are you doing a diet or in a cult? Because honestly, this episode may kind of bounce around. It may be a little less organized than most of my episodes, or at least I like to think most of my episodes are somewhat organized. And that's because I had an original idea as I was starting to make some notes, and it just went a bunch of different directions, and there are a bunch of things that I want to share. And it kind of all got started from a conversation I had with someone in my coaching group. I haven't asked if I can use their name, so I won't use their name, but I was talking with a lady, and she was asking about kind of, in a way, kind of manipulating the program, kind of manipulating what I teach. Like, she was fully understanding what I was teaching and why I was teaching it and why she would be doing it. And she said, hey, could I basically kind of rearrange this and do it in a different way? Could I take this and break it up and do this with it? And it was different. And there was part of me that didn't really, I was like, well, I don't know if that's really going to work. There was part of me that didn't like it. But ultimately I told her, I was like, try it. Try it and see. The thing that I want for every client that I work with, and I want for all of you as well, is I want you to find your path to weight loss that fits you and your life best. And in doing so, I want you to get away with as much as you can. We don't get bonus points for saying no to delicious foods that we enjoy. If it's not needed to lose weight, if it's not needed to keep you at your goal weight and to keep you healthy, then why do it? Why not get away with as much as you can when it comes to eating and drinking and just having a blast in life? And so I'm all about experimentation as long as someone is ready for it, as long as it can be a fruitful process and if the experiment fails, the person's not going to crumble. And I knew this lady well enough. I know this lady well enough from her time in my coaching group to know that she's pretty solid. She's pretty stable. So why not experiment with this and see if it works? And this got me thinking about rigid diet mentality, right? Because there's a lot of that out there. And there are certain things in my program that I teach and I encourage people, hey, imitate this before you innovate, right? Like this lady was obviously wanting to innovate and do something different. And a lot of times I say, look, let's master the basics and then we can work on experimenting and changing things up. And that's kind of where this lady was in the process. But there's a lot of very rigid diet mentality out there. Like, do this. This is the only way. This is your path to fat loss and weight loss success. And I started thinking about it and I was like, it's almost like a cult. It's almost like some diets and weight loss programs, they're very cultish. And so I started thinking, what is a cult actually? So I looked it up, and the definition, if you look it up, for a cult is a relatively small group of people having religious beliefs or practices regarded by others as strange or sinister. Now, that kind of doesn't fit with a diet. So let's go a little deeper. There's another version of the definition cult that says this: a small group that is not part of a larger and more accepted religion and that has beliefs regarded by many people as extreme or dangerous. Okay, now we're starting to get somewhere, right? It's a group of people that are really embracing some beliefs that are kind of extreme or that, seem really, really strange to people on the outside. In other words, maybe they're starting to take on beliefs or practices that are so extreme or so odd or so weird that people on the that almost inhibits their life, right? They can't fully experience and enjoy their life. And then in an article about the psychology of cultism, there was this quote. It said, "The core concept in cultism is a followership dependent upon someone or something outside itself to assist in coping with a threatening external environment. The more inadequate and inferior the follower feels himself to be, the more magical and mystical the omnipotence projected onto the leader," or I'll add to that, onto the program. That last part, I think, is so key. The more inadequate and inferior the follower feels himself or herself to be, the more magical and mystical the omnipotence projected onto the leader and the program. So a lot of people out there in the weight loss world, maybe you, I don't know, we're looking for some magical solution. We're looking for some magical, mystical thing that will fix us. A special leader, a special coach, a special program, something that will fix us. And one of the things you've probably heard me teach and preach is that there's not a magical thing out there. Ultimately, it's up to us. It's up to us. We can't, sure, it's great to have a coach. It's great to have someone to guide us. It's great to have a program to help us along the way. But we can't put all of our faith in some magical, mystical, omnipotent leader or program. Let's continue with this cult discussion, and I promise I'm moving into the 2 must-have principles for weight loss success. This will all come together and make sense. So psychologists and researchers say there are 3 primary characteristics of a cult. Number 1, they isolate their members from friends and family on the outside. Number 2, they punish doubts or questions. Interesting. Number 3, they require inordinate sacrifices and money from their followers. So if we take those 3 primary characteristics and some of these other concepts and ideas we've shared about a cult and we bring that over into the diet and weight loss world, what do we need to watch out for? Because here's the thing that I don't want for you. I don't want you to fall into some rigid, legalistic, almost cult-like mentality when it comes to a certain diet or weight loss approach. I want you to experience freedom. I want you to be empowered and to experience freedom. And there are a bunch of different ways you can do that. And there are a bunch of different weight loss solutions that might work for you. So right now I want to explain to you what to watch out for in the diet and weight loss world. If you see these things, it may not be the best solution for you or maybe for anyone. And the first is absolutes. Whenever you experience a program or a coach or a leader that speaks with absolutes, that to me is a red flag. There are bad foods and there are good foods. There's clear-cut right and clear-cut wrong. It's black and it's white. Well, if there are bad and good foods, well, then you'll be good when you eat the good foods and bad when you eat the bad foods. And if there's right and wrong, well, that means you're going to be wrong. And if it's black and white, that means that you're on one side or the other. So you're either accepted or you're ostracized. I saw a YouTube advertisement and the guy was throwing certain foods in the trash. And every time he threw the food in the trash, he would say, "This," and he would hold it up to the camera. "This is a metabolism killer," and he would throw it in the trash. He would hold up another food. "This is a metabolism killer," and he would throw it in the trash. I know it's an advertisement. It just wants to get our attention, and it probably gets a lot of people's attention. It's brilliant marketing. But that's an absolute. That's basically saying this is going to kill your kill equals death. It's going to kill your metabolism, and you'll never recover. That's absolute. It's good and it's bad. And then another way the absolutes will surface in the diet and weight loss world with a certain program is we got to cut out all of this. We want to get rid of all of that. We've got to cut out all our carbs. We want to get rid of all sugar. We can't eat any more bread. Cut out all the bread. Like you can just fill in the blank. Blank is evil. That certain food or group of foods, that's our enemy. That's evil. Carbs are the enemy. Got to cut those out. No, it's not carbs. It's meat. All meat is evil, and you've got to go totally vegan. That's what's holding you back from your health and weight loss goals. Whenever any of these absolutes come into play, you should never eat this. You should always eat that, et cetera, et cetera. Cut all that out. Get rid of all this. This is right. That's wrong. It's black and it's white. No, it's not. We live in a world of gray. Very, very rarely are things black and white. At least that's my humble opinion. And there are no such things as good and bad foods. And I've used this example before to illustrate this point. If there's a starving child and all you have is a candy bar, most diets would tell you that candy bar is bad. It's a bad food. It could save the starving child's life. That means it's not a bad food. It's a good food. Foods are not good and bad. They're all situational. So number one, watch out for absolutes. Next up, what to watch out for in the diet and weight loss world to avoid a rigid, almost cult-like mentality is an insistence or requirement that you purchase their products and only their products because they're the only ones that work or the only ones that are good, and they're really all you need. Now, look, I've got my own products, right? Like I have Rise Nutrition products, and I recommend those. I talk about those on the podcast from time to time. I talk about those in my group. And guess what? There are people in my group who routinely say, hey, Corey, what about this fish oil? What about this omega-3 supplement? Is this good? Sure, let me check it out. Let me see. What about this protein powder? What about this vitamin? What about this? What about that? My products are not the only good products. You do not have to purchase my products. As a matter of fact, in my program, I tell people very clearly, I recommend this because I can vouch for it. I'm very confident. I know the manufacturer, and I'm confident in the quality. But here's one or two, and I literally say this, here are one or two other products that also have great quality, and I never want you to feel pressure to purchase a product from me. And that's just the way I think it should be done. And so if there's some program or some coach or trainer that's telling you, hey, this is the one you really need, maybe that's a warning sign. Next up, another warning sign to watch out for in the diet and weight loss world is whenever someone is being pushy and you start feeling a lot of pressure to kind of fall in line. Encouragement and pushy pressure are two totally different things. So don't get that twisted. Don't mix those up. Ultimately, it's not a sense or feeling of care and support that I'm talking about, but pressure and almost fear. And if I had to guess, you've probably experienced that in some area of life. It's almost like that it's a clique or a group, and either you're accepted, either you fall in line, and there's pressure, this pushy pressure to kind of do what we do and do it how we do it, or you're not accepted. You don't fall in line. There's a huge difference between encouragement, care, and support, and pushy pressure that almost leaves you in a fearful state. Watch out for that. Next up, another kind of warning sign is just the demand for blind obedience. Don't question me. Don't question this program. Don't ask why. Just do it. And I always tell all of my clients and members of my Inner Circle coaching group, I welcome your questions. Like some people want to know the why behind the what, and other people don't really care. But when people want to know more of the why, that's wonderful. Ask. I want you to understand. I want you to realize why this is important and why this is incredibly helpful. And if you're ever with a coach or a trainer or a program and they don't want you to ask questions, maybe that should be a warning sign. Like that's straight up cult material right there. And I'm not saying it's a cult, but maybe it's a diet cult and you should watch out for it. So demanding blind obedience, don't question me, don't question this program, don't ask why, just do it. And this leads to the next warning sign, which is if you can't do it, if you can't do this or you don't do this, well then guess what? Then nothing's going to work for you and you're just going to fail. And then this leads in to this mentality of, you know what, then you better stick with this. You better stick with me or else. You better stick with this or you're never going to be successful. And so this pushy pressure leads to a demand for blind obedience, and this leads to really a super limiting thought and belief that this is the only path to success. If I can't do this, then nothing's going to work. And that leads you to feel absolutely dependent on them. You can't leave, you can't try something else because you there's no other options, and guess what? You don't know what to do or how to do it. Even if you've been in the program or in the, with this coach or trainer for a while, like you don't know what you're doing. They haven't taught you anything, right? They've been spoon feeding you. It's like they're handing out a brand new diet every 2 weeks or something like that. Now, it's important to understand that what I'm talking about here, it's not that it's your choice to stay because you really like it. No. That's a totally different thing. If it's your choice to stay because you love it and you love the coaching, you love the support and the encouragement, that's one thing. That's not what I'm talking about. It's a feeling that you can't leave or you can't stop or you can't do something else because you'll be lost and you have no idea what to do. Ultimately, in this situation, they're not empowering you. They're disempowering you, making you basically like a pet, like my cat who depends on me for their next meal, right? It's like a pet that can't, almost can't fend for themselves because you feed them twice per day or 3 times or whatever you do. And so when it's time for food, they just look to you and they're dependent on you. So this is something to watch out for in the diet and weight loss world, whether it's a program or a coach or a trainer. Are they trying to make you dependent on them? And then so much of what I've just shared, these previous warning signs, lead to this overarching idea that this is the way. This is the path to success, and there's no other way. And everyone else and everything else is stupid or wrong, and you just need to do this. This is the way. There's no other way. And anyone that tells you that, run the other way. Run the other way, because there are always other ways. There's one of my favorite quotes that perfectly illustrates this. Honestly, I don't know who said it. And I've tried to research to find out who said it or where it came from. Some attribute it to Harrington Emerson, who was an engineer and a businessman. Some other sources online just say it's an old wise proverb. 99% sure it's not a proverb from the Bible. I've never seen it or read it, but maybe it's just an old saying that's been around, or maybe Harrington Emerson did say it. But here it is. Methods are many, principles are few. Methods always change, principles never do. Now, regardless of who said it or where it comes from, it's absolutely 100% true. Maybe you get it, maybe you don't. It just means this. It just means that there are foundational truths. There are core principles that must be addressed or used in order to be successful. But there are a lot of ways that you can do it. There are a lot of ways you can accomplish it. For example, let's think of the financial world. If you want to get out of debt, the core principle is that you must spend less than you earn. You must earn more than you spend, right? Like, there's no way around it. It's a foundational truth. It's a core principle to getting out of debt. But there are lots of ways that you can accomplish this. You can cut out a bunch of smaller expenses. You could also maybe just reduce or eliminate 1 or 2 larger expenses. Or you can keep your expenses exactly the same, but figure out a way to make more money. The options go on and on and on. And it's exactly the same with losing weight. Methods are many, but principles are few. Methods always change, but principles never do. The foundational truth for weight loss is this. To lose weight, you ultimately have to eat, to consume less than you use. And you must do this on a consistent enough basis for your body to use its own energy stores for survival and for your day-to-day life and your day-to-day energy needs. That's it. That's the foundational truth. And there are literally hundreds of ways to do this. There are many methods. You can lose weight using keto or intermittent fasting, Weight Watchers, tracking macros, counting calories, Noom, the Mediterranean diet, a vegan diet, a vegetarian diet, or my Live Life Lose Fat program. Or you could get weight loss surgery, or choose to take one of the new weight loss drugs like Ozempic or Mounjaro. Or if you're disciplined enough, you could keep your food intake exactly the same and just start exercising more. Any of those, plus a lot of other options that I didn't mention, any of them will work or could work because they all address or try to address the basic underlying principle that you must eat less than you use. They all do the same thing, just in different ways. But there is another weight loss principle that I think is super important to consider. To keep the weight off, not just to lose the weight, but to keep the weight off, then you ultimately have to adopt those methods, that program or diet. You must adopt it as your new lifestyle. You can't do it, lose weight, then you're done, and then you can get back to your normal life. Sadly, that's what a lot of people kind of think subconsciously. They don't even realize it. Let me do this, let me lose the weight, let me get it done, knock it out, and get back to life. That's not how it works. If you want to keep your results, then you must keep doing, to some extent, the thing that brought those results. And this is why I believe choosing your weight loss solution is such an important decision. If you want to keep the weight off, it can't just be something that will address principle number 1. It must also address principle number 2. Can or will I do some version of this or enough of this long term? And that's why I believe that addressing the mental, psychological, or neurological side of weight loss is so important, because that's where our patterns and our habits get formed and ingrained. It's in our brain. We can't just do a diet and be done. If we truly want to change our body, we must change our life, and to change our life and our lifestyle, I just don't know any way to do it without changing our brain. All that being said, I want to kind of offer an apology and also kind of clear a few things up. Now, before anyone is like, wait, Corey's offered an apology. Did somebody write a mean email? No. No one has contacted me about this. This is just some thoughts I've had. And again, I just want to be very, very clear about a few things. If I have ever made it seem like my way is the only way, then I'm sorry. I never meant to do that. My way, the step-by-step method that I teach people inside my coaching group, it is based on the foundational weight loss truths, working toward eating less than we use and changing our daily habits by ingraining a new lifestyle so that we not only lose weight, but we keep the weight off. That's what my process and my program is based on. We don't do a slow motion diet. We gradually build a new lifestyle. We don't brainwash you into some cult mentality, and instead we empower you to change your brain so that it works for you and not against you. And we use certain methods. And I communicate and coach in a certain style, which you get a good feel for by listening to this podcast. And guess what? My style is not for everyone. The way we do things, it's not for everyone. And that's absolutely okay. One of the primary conversations I have with my right-hand man, my right-hand woman, Jackie, one of the big conversations we have whenever people contact us about joining the group, we'll often say, hey, does this person seem like a great fit for the group? You know, we want to help anyone and everyone, but sometimes people are a great fit and sometimes they're not, and that's okay. We want people to find what's best for them. Look, this is my point. Don't believe that just because you struggled and failed with a certain diet or a certain program that you're a failure and that something else won't be more helpful for you. That's not necessarily true. If you decide to get help in your weight loss journey, then you need to find what's best for you. Find a person or program or a coach or a plan that you connect with, that you believe in, and that you trust, and then put your name on the dotted line and go for it. Methods are many. Principles are few. Methods may change, but the principles never do. Look, it doesn't matter which diet or weight loss guru or special plan you choose. They all must adhere to these two basic principles that I outlined today. There's just no way around it. But there are hundreds of ways to do it. I hope that this message leaves you feeling empowered because I'm not a cult leader. I don't want to disempower you. I want to empower you. I want to empower you to move forward in life, to make the best decisions, to achieve weight loss success, and to find the best solution for you. And I also hope that you will share this episode with someone, and then I hope that 2 or 3 of you will get together and discuss it. That's one of my favorite things to think about, that there are some people out there who exchange these episodes and then you discuss them in order to get more out of them and so that it will help you more in your life. Now, before I sign off, just a friendly reminder that if you'd like to support this podcast, there are 2 big ways you can do that. Number 1, take the next step and join my Inner Circle coaching program. This is not just a way to support the podcast. This is how to support yourself. It's really investing in yourself instead of investing in the podcast. It's the biggest win-win because you'll not only get access to the amazing community of support, my private Inner Circle coaching group, but also my step-by-step roadmap to losing weight that I mentioned earlier, my Live Life, Lose Fat program. It will help you change your brain, regain your confidence, and it adheres to these 2 principles. It adheres to these 2 principles that I discussed today. 99% of the time, if someone likes this podcast, they absolutely love the coaching group. If you want more info about that, you can shoot an email to support@CoreyLittleCoaching.com. That email will be down in the show notes, and we will take care of you. The second way, if you would like to support this podcast, is something else that I also mentioned earlier, is you can purchase Rise Nutrition products. These are products that I believe in and I trust, and I and my clients actually take on a consistent basis. If you're interested in, these are not the only good products, by the way. Okay, let me make it clear. There are other great products out there. There are other products you can trust. But if you're interested in giving Rise products a try, you can find them on Amazon or at the website challenge2rise.com. I'll include all of that down. Just scroll down into the show notes and you'll see all of those emails and websites and links and all that good stuff. Okay? Okay. Now, thank you so much for listening. I'm absolutely honored you spent some time with me today. And please never forget that there's so much more to you than a number. So don't let the scales get all up in your head and dictate your emotions for the day or just dominate your brain and your headspace. No, no, no. There's so much more to you than that. And losing weight is amazing, and I love helping people do it. But losing weight is really all about gaining life and living the life that you've always wanted to. And I know you can do it, my friend. Even if you've tried some different programs and failed, that's okay. That's okay. You can do it. You can borrow my belief. You keep coming back. I'll keep working on you. We will get you there. God bless, my friends. Have a great day. Bye-bye.